I don't believe that the average New Zealander has a clue what really is happening out there in the big wide world and the Ardern government. And why is that? Because our mainstream media is not keeping New Zealanders informed. And why are they not keeping New Zealanders informed on these big issues? Is because remember that Ardern paid $55 million, yes, $55 million to these news agencies to more or less do things the way that she wants them to do it. And today it has been one of the biggest news breaks overseas and not a mention of it here in New Zealand. And this is just so serious. Are you aware that Ardern has decided to cancel, or she is now moving to cancel, the relationship of New Zealand in the Five Eyes Agreement? Are you aware that she has turned her back and is prepared to turn her back on an alliance and an arrangement since the 1940s with America, Canada, Australia, United Kingdom and New Zealand? That New Zealand's Foreign Minister also said she would not allow the intelligence alliance to decide the country's dealings with China, putting at odds with the other members of Five Eyes. So New Zealand has broken with its Five Eyes intelligence partners, including the UK, as it pursues a close alliance with China, the largest trading partner. Tensions between Beijing and Washington have been rising in recent years, while in March Britain and China imposed tit-for-tat sanctions stemming from human rights abuses committed against Uyghur Muslims. Australian robust criticism of China's human rights record in recent months has resulted in punitive levies on more than a dozen Australian exports, including Australian wine. Intelligence sources in the United Kingdom insist they were not concerned by comments made by Naya Mahuta, who was appointed New Zealand Foreign Minister following Jacinda Ardern's re-election last year. Source suggested that these was a difference of opinion on a specific issue over the issuing of joint statements on China. But however, Ardern has made it very clear that she is going to she's making the moves to remove New Zealand from the Five Eye Alliance. This is a decision that she is obviously virtually made on the hoof. This bird is so dangerous, and this government is so socialist. Are you aware of just how socialist the Ardern government is? Have you any idea how close it is to being communistic in its ideals and in its future plans? We have warned New Zealanders, this radio station and other broadcasters who tend to look deeply into the actions of people like Jacinda Ardern. We warned people that this is probably going to happen, and sure enough it has. When you have a little slip of a girl who constantly refers to her own as comrades, that is a pretty dangerous situation, and we are now going to be in a position through this crazy bird that we call our Prime Minister. We are now going to have China dictating our policies, not only our trading policies, but will have huge influence on our internal policies. China. We are New Zealanders. We are a New Zealand down in the bottom of the Pacific, and China, This is something they've always wanted, is to have that huge influence in a South Pacific country because of the huge fishing resource in this area, and also New Zealand is a food bowl for China. Australia are not playing this game at all. They are not giving in at all. In fact, Morrison has become very stoic in his handling of China, and he has virtually told them to stuff it. But not silly little Ardern. She is embracing the communism and the ideals of China simply under the guise that we need China for our trade. Well, does it really matter? Does trade really matter when she, yes, she has prevented any more exploration for oil or gas? What's the use of a country that is not self-sufficient within in energy? What is the use of any country that is not self-sufficient in its own energy source? She stopped all that. So how the hell are we going to be trading or manufacturing stuff in New Zealand for China? No, this is a takeover. This is a takeover of New Zealand by China, and that silly Mahuta, the one, you know the one I'm talking about. This is serious, serious stuff, and I hope the listeners of Mountainside are taking this as serious as it really is. Goodness me, this is just so bad. This news was first broken in the UK by Maher Tusi, who lives in the UK, and he certainly over the time has posted some very interesting items on his blog site. He is Iranian from birth, but has lived in the UK for many years and seems a very sensible man. It worries all of us enormously that this particular subject matter has hardly been mentioned in New Zealand and around the world, although today we've heard some comments from the various media. Finally. So what are you going to do about it? What are New Zealanders going to do about this? Having our policies being shaped and manipulated by China, by communist China? Are you going to let this happen? Well, unfortunately, being a Kiwi, you probably will. And what will happen next elections, being a Kiwi, you'll re-elect this communistic bird, our Marxist Ardern, and her very socialist government. So you can't say that we haven't kept you informed. You can't say that we here on this radio station have not given you the facts. Now it's up to New Zealanders to take those facts and realise how serious all this truly is.